This is way more complicated than just a trade. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Neil if you're new. Thanks for joining me today. And the weekend has set off. It's Friday. We got some news yesterday in a big trade. I don't know if Buffalo Sabres fans will have a good start to the weekend because of this or won't. I have a feeling like most probably will. Obviously, this is devastating news that Jack Eichel has been traded from your favorite team potentially if you're a Buffalo Sabres fan. But at the same time, aren't you just glad it's over? Like honestly, like I'm not a I almost said I'm not a Canadiens fan. I am a Canadiens fan. I'm not a Sabres fan, but I just feel like thank God it's over. It's finally over, and we can just move past it and just get on with our lives. That's kind of how I feel about it. And most of you know exactly what the trade is, but in case you don't, I'm going to put it up on the screen and I'll read you through it. So the Buffalo Sabres have traded Jack Eichel to the Vegas Golden Knights in exchange for a couple of things, I guess. There's some conditions in there. So let's just go through it. So the Vegas Golden Knights acquire Jack Eichel, which is $10 million of salary per year, average, and a 2023 conditional third-round pick. Now, the condition on that pick is if Vegas' first-round pick in the 2022 draft is a top 10 pick, then Buffalo will transfer their 2024 third-round pick instead. Whatever. Like that is an insignificant part of the trade, I think. So what does Buffalo acquire? Well, Buffalo gets Alex Tuch at $4.75 million average per year. They get Peyton Krebs, a prospect with a lot of potential, and they get two conditional picks. The first is going to be a 2022 conditional first-round pick, and then a 2023 conditional second-round pick. Now, here are the conditions. The conditions on the first-round pick are, if the pick is in the top 10, Vegas will instead transfer the 2023 first-round pick to Buffalo. The conditions on the second-round pick from 2023 are as follows. If Vegas' first-round pick in the 2022 draft is in the top 10, then Vegas will transfer their 2024 second-round pick instead. These conditions, man. It seems like every trade has a condition on something. It's almost exhausting to a point. But anyways, it's done. So from a Buffalo's perspective, I don't want to say this is a letdown. I just was expecting more. Why did it take this long? No offense to Krebs, no offense to Tuch, but shouldn't they have gotten more? It's been, what, 8 months or 7 months or something crazy like that since the rumors really started to pick up. And that's kind of all they got back. So I feel a little bit disappointed if I'm Buffalo, but at the same time, you're getting a very promising prospect. Alex Tuch is a great player and a great human. The picks could turn into something, so you don't really know. There's a lot up in the air, so it's hard to truthfully judge the winner of this one. If you're Vegas, you get one of the best players in this generation potentially in Eichel if he can come back from his surgery and play like he did before or possibly better. Hey, you probably win this trade regardless. So only time will tell who wins this trade, but it just goes beyond the trade. Okay, let's talk about what other impacts there are beyond the trade. And I want to talk about two issues for both teams, Vegas and Buffalo. Let's start off with Vegas. You bring in $10 million of salary. Now, there's already players on the roster that are on injury reserve, and then you've put, I think, Stone on LTIR. So there's been some shuffling of salary because of the injury reserve. But at the same time, when these players come back, including Eichel, there is a cap situation that just doesn't make sense. Like, that's really how you have to put it. It doesn't make sense. The numbers don't work. So I don't know what they're going to do. I have a feeling that they may try and pull a Tampa Bay. And by that, I mean circumvent the cap at the end of the year going into the playoffs, because the cap doesn't matter when you go into the playoffs. So season ends, cap doesn't matter. Some of these players come back, potentially, come into the organization, and they just destroy. they wipe out the entire Western Conference. Maybe that won't happen. Sometimes that doesn't always work. But still, there's speculation there, and that just further exploits the NHL's cap problem going into the playoffs. So that is the whole salary situation, or the whole cap situation in Vegas is a question mark now, a question mark in a month from now when players start to get healthy, and then a question mark in like 7 months from now, or 7 or 8 months from now when the playoffs start. So Vegas is going to be an interesting team to watch, not just standing-wise or point-wise, but organizationally from a cap perspective. So we got to keep our eye on that. Now, what's Buffalo's issue other than losing Jack Eichel? To me, this kind of is a long-term problem, I guess, kind of a serious long-term problem. there's a big disconnect between an asset and a human or an organizational family. What I mean by that is, technically, Jack Eichel was an asset. They had the ability to decline what Jack Eichel wanted to do for his surgery, or the surgery that he wanted, or his doctors wanted. They had the right to decline that. That is well within the rules of the organization, in the CBA, in the NHLPA, whatever. They have that ability. So they didn't do anything wrong by declining Jack the surgery that he wanted. They're trying to protect their asset. However, by doing that, they've created a rift between Jack and the Sabres. And that just compounded into resentment and months of frustration. And I think Melody said it the best in her video. If you haven't seen it, go check it out, Melody Martin. She said, I think regardless if the injury happened, Jack Eichel's still probably requesting a trade because relationships there, it just didn't seem like it was working, right? So I think she's right. I'll just say that. But the long-term problem for me isn't really about Jack. It's about kind of the perception of the team by other players. If you're a player coming up and you have the opportunity to sign with the Buffalo Sabres, or you get, maybe the GM comes to you and be like, listen, you got a modified no-trade clause. Unfortunately, we're looking to trade you to the Buffalo Sabres. Would you waive your modified no-trade clause and to go to Buffalo? Or if you're a free agent and Buffalo wants to sign you. I think this situation really hits home with a lot of those people, or players rather, and they think, okay, well, why would I want to go to Buffalo, regardless if they were good or not? Do they really have my best interest as a human at the forefront of their mind? Am I just an asset? Like, I know I am an asset, but am I just an asset? Am I going to an organization that feels like a family? I don't think that's the case in Buffalo. If I'm one of those players, I don't trust the Buffalo Sabres. Crap, sorry, I got a phone call and it completely distracted me. I have no idea where I was, but I was getting at there's a huge disconnect between an organization such as Buffalo and the players and trust. I'm not going to go to the Buffalo Sabres because I don't trust them. Like, maybe I'm okay now, but what if something happens and I want a specific surgery, or I want to live in a certain section of the town, or I don't know. There's a thousand different situations I could create in my head that I don't know if Buffalo has my best interest at heart. And I think most teams, they have the asset on this side, and then they have the human or family, organizational family on the other side. And some of these situations, when it comes to surgery and stuff, there's a middle ground. And sometimes you have to remove the asset situation from a player and push him more into the human situation. What's better for this person, as a human? What's going to better his quality of life medically or whatever? And you have to consider that. That's why there's an entire fund set up or organization within the NHLPA and whatnot for players who need assistance, like Carey Price. So this middle ground area is kind of important. And teams like Vegas, who will allow an asset to move into this middle ground to get the surgery that he wants because of the human connection, he needs that from a medical perspective to increase his quality of life. That's great. Vegas is going to allow that. I think that's important. Players will see that and want to go to Vegas just from that perspective. But players are going to look at Buffalo and think, okay, I'm always only going to be an asset in Buffalo. They don't give a crap about me as a person, as a human, for my family. Like, they don't care. Why would I want to go to Buffalo, a team that's just going to treat me like an asset and not part of the family? I don't think there's a family in Buffalo. And I think that's a bigger long-term issue than a short-term problem of losing Eichel. Not being able to attract certain players in the future. And it's not just Buffalo, okay? Like I said earlier in the video, I'm a Canadiens fan. I'm not only going to pick on Buffalo here. Let's use the Canadiens as another example. Montreal is just one of those cities, or the Canadiens are just one of those organizations that some players just don't want to go to for three main reasons, okay? Number one, it's in Canada, and the taxes are usually higher in Canada. Number two, it's in Quebec, and Quebec is a French-speaking primarily French-speaking province. There's nothing wrong with the French. There's nothing wrong with the language. But if you don't speak French, you're always going to have to deal with that language barrier in a lot of situations in Quebec. Number three, the Canadians or French sports media, and specifically, they're ruthless. They will tear you apart. You'll have 17 really great games, and then that 18th game, maybe you have a really crappy game. You make a big mistake. It ends up losing your entire team the game, and they will rip you apart. That's how ruthless they are. And players don't want to experience that. That's why a lot of players or free agents don't sign in Montreal. That's just reality. Well, Buffalo's just kind of created one of those reasons for them. They have this new reason that never existed before because they didn't want to work with one of their players, who was Jack Eichel. So if I'm a player, and if Buffalo's offering me decent money, sometimes it's not about money. Sometimes it's about trust. if I'm a player, I don't trust Buffalo, and that's a long-term issue for me. So I think Buffalo could have completely avoided this situation and just given Jack the surgery that he wanted, even if they still lost him in the end. This is an optical problem. This is a perceptive problem. People perceive Buffalo differently now as an organization, as a team. Players do, agents do. To me, that's a bigger deal than we think, and that those decisions already happen in the game of hockey today. Like I said, with Montreal, there's all kinds of different teams. You know, some players don't want to go to Vegas because it's damn hot all year round, basically. So there are all kinds of different reasons why players don't want to go to certain teams. Buffalo just created a new one that could have been completely avoided. So yeah, it sucks you lost Eichel, but there's a new problem in town, and it's called trust. And I don't trust the Buffalo Sabres. Are they going to be a better team in the next couple of years? Yeah, probably. You know, regardless of what happens, it's kind of hard to get much worse than Buffalo right now, or specifically last season. So yeah, they're going to get better, but it doesn't really matter because you have this monkey on your back now that, you know, players don't want to play in Buffalo. Not because we're good or because we're bad, but because they don't trust us. They don't trust the organization. That is a problem. So that's my thoughts on the situation. I don't know who won the trade. Time will tell. Let's chat in 3 or 4 years and see. So thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Do you trust Buffalo now? Do you think I'm just being silly a little bit? Who do you think won the trade initially? Love to hear your thoughts. If you are new, please hit the subscribe button down below. And if you did like this video, please hit the like button. That helps a lot. And I will catch you guys in a future video. Adios.